So I saw the leaked information on the Z Flip 4, and I gotta say I'm kind of concerned. And there are some good things. There's some good things that have been reported. There's actually images that you can see. At least somebody's got some hands-on with a Z Flip 4. And that's not surprising because reportedly they've gone into production. I'm sure this stuff, it's about time and ripe for these things to start leaking out because, well, the launch, we're looking at early August, if we are to believe the rumors. So what is being reported is that, here's a positive note, that the crease is actually shallower and less noticeable. So this is the Z Flip 3, and you can see it's got a pretty noticeable crease there. And if you take a look at the images, you can see that it is shallower and less noticeable. So that's a good thing. But what is noticeable and what is a bad thing is that it looks like they may be using the same cameras. Again, yes, the same two 12 megapixel cameras on the outside and the same 10 megapixel camera on the inside. I don't normally have a problem with phones reusing a camera for 1 year, maybe 2 years at the max, as long as that's reflected in the pricing and if other things change on the device. But if that's the case, that means basically they're using the same cameras on the Z Flip for 4 years in a row, or maybe 3.5 really, because it wasn't a full year between the Z Flip and the Z Flip 5G. So Z Flip 212s, 110, Z Flip 5G, the same 212s, 110, Z Flip 3, same cameras, which kind of a noticeably better performance just because the AI and the computational photography stuff with the Snapdragon 888. But if they go 4 years, like, that's something that's going to be really, really hard to gloss over. And of course, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of tech reviewers that are going to say, oh, it's amazing, the cameras are so good, they don't need to upgrade them, blah, 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 it's a folding phone. Look, the whole it's a folding phone thing is really cool, but that only gives you a pass maybe for a year or two. There is no possible way that I think that it's cool that they would possibly use the same cameras 4 years in a row. And they're not Pixel. This is not like, okay, we use the same camera and it wowed us for several years. These cameras aren't wowing anybody. They haven't wowed anybody from the get-go. They certainly wouldn't be wowing anybody in year 4. So if they go ahead and do this, they better have a substantial drop in the price. And I'm talking like $799 would have to be the price point for this camera and this phone setup, because it started off high, $1,380, then they bumped it up to $1,449. There was a huge drop down to $999, and I thought that was fair because they added so much. They improved the actual screen, they made it more durable, and they gave us IPX8 water resistance, and then they gave us stereo speakers, they gave us 120 hertz refresh rate. They gave us a lot of stuff with the Z Flip 3. I thought the Z Flip 3 was a hugely, amazingly improved product over the Z Flip 5G. So that's cool. But it doesn't look like we're going to see that. And if you take a look at the images that they put out there, the phone looks mostly the same. So that tells me that if this is their strategy, then they really are going to have to hunker down and lower that price some. And I'm not talking about the Samsung rope-a-dope. I'm not talking about the Samsung, hey, we're selling it for $999, but we're going to give you $4 million of trade-in credit if you give us a Note 8. Like, that's cool. I like that. But they need to lower the MSRP. And if they were to go ahead and do that, I would say it's got to be $799. And I would really have to sit around and question at this point what Samsung is doing, because this is what happens when you don't have competition. The companies can get away with the same old year after year because there's nobody pushing them. There's nobody out there that's making them up their game. There's nobody that's keeping them in check, making them innovate. And whenever you're talking about very, very subtle changes and just releasing the same product for like 4 years in a row, just because you can, that's not really cool. And of course, all we have really out there is Motorola. And I'm really hoping this right here is going to have to be Motorola's year to shine. Motorola with their Razr 3 is going to have to come hard with this one and really swing for the fences. And maybe it could be theirs to take it, because I'm sorry, if taking a look at these renders that they have, not even renders, they're actual images of this leaked device that's made it out in somebody's hands. Yeah, it's just not very inspiring. And yes, they're talking about adding, if this is to believe to be true, they're talking about an upgrade from a 3300 milliamp battery to a 3700 milliamp battery, which that's actually good. Somehow they managed to squeak that in there. That would be something very praiseworthy, because that means that you'll get probably about an extra hour battery life, which makes all the difference in the world when this phone only gets about 4 hours of screen on time for heavy usage. So yes, that would be great to see a 3700 milliamp battery. That would be great to see a better design on the Crease, and that would be much more diminished and not as noticeable, not as something that interrupts your experience. So that would be great too. Also talking about an improvement from 15 watt charging to 25 watt charging. And some people may say, well, that's still not that great. Well, in context, I don't think it's a bad thing because the battery's not that big. So when you have a 3700 milliamp battery, 25 watt charging will still get it recharged pretty quick, but it also limits the liability for causing damage to your battery and the overall battery health by using a super high powered charger, which is a risk you have because of the heat transference and just the way that it charges the battery. So you don't want a 100 watt charger on a battery like this is very small. If you have a 5,000 milliamp battery, if you lose a couple cells along the way, it's not the end of the world. If you've got a 3300 like in the Z Flip 3 or a reported 3700 in the Z Flip 4, you want to save that as best as you can. And if you were to go ahead and use that charge to 85% rule, it would still put you down kind of close to ballpark on the 3300, which you would originally get with the Z Flip 3, but also still have some savings on your battery health. So I'm not opposed to 25 watt charging on a phone battery that small. On a 5,000 milliamp battery, it takes kind of a while to charge. So that's promising in that regard. The charging is promising, and also the diminished crease, making that an improved thing, is also cool. The idea of having the same cameras again really irks me, and it should irk you too. So I don't want to get too wrapped around the axle yet because who knows? Things could change. Maybe this is all la la land. Maybe this is all speculation. Maybe somebody's pulling our chain. I don't think so. I think this is probably pretty close to it because when you get this close, things are pretty accurate, especially with the way that Samsung is not good about keeping things in-house. Loose lips sink ships, and Samsung's got some of the loosest ones. It's one of those things where nothing is really sacred anymore. There's so many people that make a business out of this leak culture, and I really don't like leak culture because it ruins everything. It used to be a long time ago you could kind of speculate and go, oh, well, we think it'll have this, or we think it'll have this. But nowadays, you know, basically when the date is going to be before it's well before it's announced. You know what the product's going to be. You know what the name's going to be. You know what the hardware is going to be. And now that the device is it's already been reported, they're already in the manufacturing phase. So it really doesn't surprise me at all that shortly after that was announced that we have one in somebody's hands already. So looking at this, if this is truly what we're going to get, I think it's going to be a step back for the Z Flip 4. I think it's something where I think they're still trying to get this thing out, like mass proliferate this out into the hands of people. I really do believe they're gearing the Z Flip phone as more of a consumer-friendly device, which it has shown. There was a lot of interest in it, a lot of curb appeal, a lot of people really interested in the old Flipperoo. And rightfully so. It's a fun phone. It's cool. Brings back a lot of nostalgia, but also it's the cutting edge of technology as we're to speak. So I love the Z Flip 3. I'm going to cover the Z Flip 4. I cover the foldable, so that's definitely something that we're going to get here on the channel that I'm going to pay for and buy because Samsung doesn't send me anything, which doesn't surprise me because, I mean, if they watch my videos, they probably see that I'm not always their biggest fan, especially whenever it comes to business and marketing decisions. But foldables are cool. I like that they're here, but I really think we need more competition. Motorola, this could be their year. They need to bring their A game. I'd love to see somebody else step in, enter stage right in the United States. Yes, I know that they've got the ones with Honor. Yes, I know they've got the ones with Huawei. They're great. They're cool-looking phones, but they're not here in the United States, and we need that here for competition's sake. So we can get the cool phones that are pushing the envelope much more than Samsung is, because I feel like Samsung really is being lazy. I feel like they're being really lazy with the way that they're handling this, and instead of putting their foot on the pedal and pressing the gas and really making a lot of big change with what they're doing with their products and making them more exciting, I feel like they're playing it way too safe because there's just nobody challenging them. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens down the road once we finally get the official specs on it, once they have the announcement, which I believe is going to be about August the 10th is what I was seeing. So we'll see if that holds up. I believe what they're saying, at least reporting on the rumors, is August 10th will be the announcement for the Unpacked event, and the 26th was the day that they go on sale or start shipping out, as it were. So we'll see what happens. But for now, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, and we're just going to have to wait and see. So that's all I've got. What do you think? Are you interested in the Z Flip 4? Do you like the Z Flip 3 now? What are your concerns and hangups with the phone? And do you think that it's a bad thing if this actually comes to fruition and they use the same camera all over again for the Z Flip 4? Because that right there was one of the two things I said they needed to fix for the next go around. I said they needed new cameras, and I said they needed a bigger battery. And it looks like we're probably going to get the bigger battery, which makes tons of sense. But I really have a lot of question marks if we're going to get the same camera, because I think that would be a big... So let me know. What are your thoughts? Now, if you got any questions or comments, please go down in the comment section. I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.